guys, we are doing yoga for stress today. If you have a hand towel handy, grab a hand towel. Lily, where's yours? Grab a hand towel. Not because we're going to sweat, but because we're going to use it to pull out a little stress in the back of the legs. So this class is really super gentle. We don't get up on our feet, we do a lot of groundwork, and we just really look for places of stress that most people hold tension. Like to get rid of some of it, and then we have a nice long relaxation pose at the end.
Feel free to comment about how
Kaylee calls it her stay on the tush class, and yeah, feel free to comment and let us know that you're watching. Let us know real people are out there. That would be awesome. So we're going to start face down. Kaylee is already almost in crocodile pose. You have a choice for starting face down. You can start in a child's pose if that's more comfortable for you. So child's pose is generally knees together or knees apart, however your hips are more comfortable. And coming down, bring your hands either to prayer or just out in front of you and letting the tension come out of your neck. Let your head come to the ground. If your head doesn't come to the ground, you can bring a fist on top of a fist and place your forehead down. You can bring a block under your forehead, place something over it to make it a little more comfy. Or full crocodile, laying down on your stomach, one hand on top of another, and placing that right in the middle of your forehead. So you have that little counter pressure, like closing a loop in the front of your forehead. So start to arrive on the mat. Start to let go. So start to think of all of the things that are whirling around in your head, all the things that bother you. And imagine just kind of giving them a little push out the door. Making little walls around your mat, like your mat is your sacred space. Taking the time, taking 60 minutes just to be on your mat in this moment in time, in this physical body, having an experience only on the mat. That's not to say that our mind won't drag us all over the place, but the practice is to try and say, in this moment, on this mat, and try not to beat yourself up when you get lost and distracted, just returning to the mat. And it'd be helpful to try and give yourself a little intention, something that you can come back to and reground whenever you get distracted. If you work with an intention that you want to build upon more and more often, it can be a very powerful tool. For example, if you want to work with self-worth, your intention would be, I am worthy. Very powerful, short, precise, positive sentence. And if you want to take something simple for today and just say, I'm going to stay on my mat today. And taking some time to feel the shoulders, feel the neck. Starting to tune in, turn on that mind-body connection. Notice how you feel. Check in on the upper back, the lower back. Around the hips, around the ankles and the feet, and then around the wrists and hands. And for a few breaths in this position, imagine you could breathe in through the crown of your head, slowly down your spine to the tailbone. And then all the way back up, lengthening your breath. Imagine you could draw fresh energy down your spine and then sweep away tension and things no longer needed with the exhale. And if you are in child's pose, slowly slide through to crocodile. We'll start in crocodile, moving and breathing. So starting very slow and gentle. Bring your arms or forearms down, and we're going to inhale, lift our shoulders just a little, nice and slow. Exhale, lower. Starting very slow. Inhale as you lift, and exhale as you lower. Just starting to connect breath with movement. And starting to have an internal experience. Where is your tension? Try to take the tension out of the neck and out of the face. Rather than getting these shoulders up big and archy, imagine lifting the shoulders and getting long from the crown of the head to the tailbone, making more space for the spine. Noticing if there's compensation or gripping in any part of the back. Maybe you're using your glutes a little more than everything else. Maybe start to take the movement a little bigger. Inhale as you lift the toes. Exhale, lower. Starting to use more of the entire back body. And then can you even use a little bit of the stomach muscles? Squeezing tight, pulling your stomach towards the spine. Come back to crocodile. Pause and reset and shimmy the hips. Let all the tension go. Head down on your left hand. Take your right arm long from the shoulder. Reach it really long as if you're creeping your fingertips forward. Stretch and then press the hand down and pull back. So pull that hand back towards you without letting it move. See the arm fire up. Keeping this arm engaged. Looking for compensation patterns because you're going to want to use other bigger, stronger muscles to make this movement. Lift the arm up off the ground and hover. Notice which muscles you use. Maybe some lower back muscles, maybe some hip muscles. I'm going to turn so I'm closer to the microphone. Sorry. Hold and hover. Notice any gripping in the neck, any gripping in the glutes, the low back. Bring the right arm slowly around in a circle, coming towards the hip. Slowly behind you, as slow as you can. Still engaged, looking for compensation patterns. Is your face soft? When it gets down to the hip, push it up to the ceiling and down to the ground. Up to the ceiling, down to the ground. Nice and slow. Inhale as you lift, exhale as you lower. And then slowly all the way back. Still engaged, looking for compensation patterns. Take the tension out of the face, out of the neck. Slowly bring that arm all the way up to a hover. Who knew that just using our arm could be so much work? Place it down. And then switch sides. So take a second and just feel left and right sides. Notice how they feel. And then take that left hand out, reach it as long as you can, creep it a little bit further forward, plant the hand, and then feel like you're pulling the hand back towards you without letting it move. Fire up the arm. And then keeping that muscle strength, lift and hover the arm and try to do it with just the arm and shoulder muscles and not the back, the glutes, the neck, the face.
I can't get my back to stop doing the work.
So if your back is doing a lot of the work, Kaylee's having trouble with her back doing all the work. Your back does want to do the work because you have stronger muscles in your back. So squeeze your hips, your glutes, and press your pelvis down into the ground. Press your hips into the ground. Press and fire up. Then lift the arm. So you can lift your arm without muscles because everything's strong there. So let your body know what that is. Then let everything go in the hips. Squeeze the arm, active and strong. Feel that softness in the hips, then try to lift them. I saw your legs lift.
My legs don't lift.
Yeah, so keep practicing. Trying to use only the arm and shoulder. Take the tension out of the neck and the face and slowly take that arm down in a circle down towards the left hip. Once it gets close to the hip, hold it. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Again, looking for muscles that are coming to the party that were not invited. Legs should be soft. Glutes should be soft. Low back soft. Neck soft. Face soft. Just using our arm. Slowly bring the arm all the way back to where we started. Slow movement, slower. Lower the arm. Bring it back to crocodile pose. Take a shimmy of the hips, loosen and soften and feel the shoulders. Take a deep breath in and sigh out of the mouth. Try to feel softer around the shoulders. Bring the hands down about shoulder height. Press the hands into the ground. And we're going to take the left shoulder down towards the ground and lift the right. So left shoulder comes towards the ground, right shoulder lifts. And you can bring your head down to wherever your head is comfortable. Press into both arms, your hands. Your arms are active here. Slowly pressing into the arms, switch sides. Right shoulder comes down to the ground, left shoulder lifts. Find a comfortable spot for your head and neck. Keeping strong, active arms here. So we're not just flopping into the joint, we're using the muscles around the joint to feel a different angle. And then slowly come back to center and bring the forearms down on the ground ahead of the shoulders. You don't have to bring the elbows right in underneath the shoulders. You can make some space. Grab the ground with the hands. Feel like you're pulling the hands back towards you without moving them. And we're going to take a little bit of movement through the shoulders here. So you're going to turn your head and look towards your right toe, and then turn and look towards your left toe, taking some movement through the shoulders. Trying to have a little bit of tension in the arms as you make this movement. And then bring it back to neutral. Lift your chest like you're trying to pull it through your shoulders. Take the tension out of the low back. If you're feeling some crunching in the low back, maybe press your thighs into the ground a little more. Maybe the tops of your feet into the ground a little more. And then pressing the hands in under the shoulders, go all the way back to a child's pose. Knees can be together or wide. Come on up to a tabletop position. So hanging out in a tabletop position, we're going to make some space for our wrists. We're going to connect with our hands on the ground. Yoga does a lot of work with hands on the ground. Loading our joints makes our joints stronger. So even if you are not used to having weight on your hands, find ways that you can make space for your wrists. Get used to some loading on your hands. It's really good for your wrists. It's good for your arms, your shoulders. Build some strength in these important things that we use all the time. We need our hands. So starting to move and breathe here. Inhaling forward and exhaling backwards. Connecting with our breath. Connecting with our hands on the ground, our feet on the ground. Feeling grounded, supported on the mat in this moment in time. And then start to take U-shape with the hips. So as you exhale, take a half circle with the hips. Inhale forward, exhale, half circle round, and inhale forward. Just feeling a little bit of a different shape. Still connecting with the breath. Still tuning in and having an internal experience, feeling your body. And then bring it back to tabletop. Turn the left fingertips towards you. You might need to bring them really close to the knee to make a lot of space. Press the fingertips down firmly into the ground so the whole arm is strong and fired up. Opening up the back of the wrist. And you can play with the angle here. Move the arm, move the shoulder. Switch hands, turn the right fingertips towards the knee, making some space for the wrist, and then really pressing into the hand. So you're really firmly pressing that hand into the ground and pulling up with your arm muscles. Bring it back. This time turn the fingertips of the left hand under, palm up, and open up the back of the wrist. You can feel like you're pulling the fingertips, pulling the hand away from you without letting it move. Switch sides, left fingertips towards you, palm up, tucked under, maybe a little pull. A little bit of a game we're gonna do. So we're gonna look down at our hands. Make yourself comfortable in your knees and hips, wherever that is to you. We're gonna be here for a little bit. So look down at your hands. Be strong in your arms and your chest. We're not sagging in. Hold up nice and strong. Use your muscles. Lift your thumbs. Look at how high they lift. Lift them up. Use the muscles. Find the muscles that lift your thumbs. Connect with them. Drop them. Bring your index fingers up. Feel the muscles that lift the index fingers.
Huh? I use my elbow.
Lift them higher. Pressing all the other fingertips down into the ground. Bring them down. Notice how high each finger comes. Make a mental note. Lift the middle fingers. I think this is what Kaylee's doing in the background to me all the time. Bring that down. Ring fingers. Lift high. Really noticing which muscles are firing.
I can't lift one.
Bring that down, and then you're going to lift pinky fingers. Little fingers. Notice how high they come, or if they don't lift at all, that's also normal. Bring that down. We're going to turn our hands towards us. So make some space for your wrists. Turn your hands towards your knees. And then
I know exactly what you're doing.
we're going to do the same thing. Lift the thumbs. Notice how high they come. Lift the index fingers. If you can. Notice how high they come.
If I lean forward, I can.
That's the compensation pattern.
Oh, so I should do it.
Lift the middle finger. See if you can fire up those muscles. Ring fingers. See if you can get even a millimeter of space.
I'm leaning forward and I can't do it. I'm cheating and I still can't do it.
And then ring the little finger. Maybe you can slip a credit card in underneath. Lift, pull that finger up, and then bring that down. And our wrists have been working for a little bit, so take a comfortable seat and take a nice slow circle with the wrist. Really, really, really slow. And then back the other way.
I didn't get to do my circles yet. I was too busy trying to breathe. I got just to my nose.
Bring the hand down, fingertips down, and just bring some sensation with the other hand on the top of that wrist. So just rubbing the palm of your hand on the top of the wrist and then the other side. Really bringing some circulation here. We've worked our hands a lot. Bring your hands together. Hands together, interlace the fingers, pull them apart. And then back to tabletop. So now that we've got nice strong hands and wrists, we're going to work on balancing a little and shoulders.
My left hand looks smaller than it was before.
And legs. So take the left arm up off the ground without sinking into the right. So often we do this. We fall into this right shoulder and we drop in. Lift up, strong shoulder. Left arm up, engaged. We're going to take a giant circle with this left arm. Nice, big, slow circle. Bring the left arm down. Send the left leg back. Toes on the ground. And just press through the heel a little bit. Warm up that leg. Maybe take a little back and forth or hold it static if that feels good. And then we're going to do what we just did, only this time we're going to lift the toes too. So try not to sink into that right shoulder. Lift the left arm, and then lift the left toes. This should be really challenging. Squeeze your lower core. Check on the face, nice soft face. And then get longer, longer, longer. Inhale long. Exhale, elbow to knee, nice and slow. Inhale long. Exhale, elbow to knee. Woo. Challenge on your balance. Challenge on your focus. Open up, stretch, open long. Squeeze in. Inhale long. Exhale, squeeze. And then bring it back down to a tabletop. Take a little reset. Set up on the left side. Right arm up. Without sinking into the left shoulder. Right arm in a long, slow circle. A couple of times. All right. Bring that right arm down. Right leg goes back, toes down. Press through the heel. Working on set up to lift both. So strong on the left side. First, lift the left arm, lift the left toes. Find your balance. Get longer, 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 longer. Reach long. Inhale long. Exhale, squeeze in. Inhale long. Exhale, squeeze in. Reach, stretch, open, squeeze. And then bring it back. Tabletop. Take a little reset. And then send the hips back for a child. And take a full reset. Let go. Soften into the ground. Surrender. Bring the upper body up and sit up. So this is where, if you have the towel, you're going to use the towel. If you don't have the towel, you're going to leave your heels on the mat and you're going to pull on the mat with the feeling of pulling, trying to get your legs to not move. So you're pushing down and pulling at the same time. If you have it, you are going to place it underneath your heels and bring your heels off your mat. So you can come to the end of your mat, you can fold your mat over. You want your heels on something that's going to slide because we're going to work the hamstrings. So low back problems often go all the way down our legs also. So places of stress, releasing stress. Place your heels down on the ground and get even on your seat. Use some attention. Squeeze that stomach, lower stomach in towards the spine. Bring your hands for balance so that you don't end up compensating with the low back. So bring your hands for balance, squeeze your low core. Let your legs come out long with a bend in the knees. You're going to pull the heels while pushing the heels into the ground. Pull them slowly towards you, as slow as you can. Fire up the glutes. Fire up the hamstrings, the backs of the legs. Slowly let them slide away and then pull them back. Slowly, active, both ways. You're not flopping forward. Legs are strong. How to do it? You can't fire up your...
Yeah, I can't like push and pull at the same time and fire.
So trying to use the backs of your legs. It's really hard to do this. Generally, these guys are not as strong as you think they are.
I can't push into my feet when they're out like this. Is that weird? Like, I can't.
Generally, these muscles are very weak. Kaylee's just finding out that they're very, very, very weak.
I'm using the top of my leg.
Option to stay with this, or if you want to pump it up a little bit more and really challenge the hamstrings, you're going to come to a bridge. So laying down on your back with your heels on something that will slip. Taking the time to set up in your bridge if you're coming to the bridge. Otherwise, just stay with pulling the hamstrings in and out. Bring the backs of your arms to the ground. Press your rib cage into the ground. Try not to flatten your neck into the ground. Chin up, face soft. We're going to let the heels slip away from us. You bring the toes up. Fire up the glutes, fire up the back of the legs, lift the hips, and then slowly slide those legs towards you. Slide them away. Slowly slide. Don't lift the hips too far, you'll regret it. Let them slide away. Pressing this rib cage into the ground. Fire up the glutes. Fire up the back of the legs. This should really be hard. If you're feeling cramping, not surprising. That's part of the work. And then let that go. Bring your knees into your chest. If you're sitting up, come on down to your back. Bring your knees into your chest. No, it's not. It's like 30 minutes away from Shavasana. Nice try though. So bring your knees in.
30 minutes Shavasana.
That would be a meditation class.
Exactly.
Bring your knees into your chest. Feel the backs of your legs. Take your feet up to the ceiling. Feel your feet. Feel your legs.
We don't do enough meditations. I think we should change
So,
Monday's class to meditation.
one of the ways to release stress and tension is to build strength in the muscles so that they stop gripping. So feeling the backs of your legs right now with your feet up in the air, letting the blood flow back to your heart, let your chest and your shoulders kind of melt into the ground. Spread your toes really, 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 really wide. Curl your toes under. Bring the toes back towards the shins. And then bring your feet down to the ground, knees up. Take a little side shimmy of the knees, nice and slow, like your knees are windshield wipers. Letting the hips move softly over the ground.
Windshield wipers aren't that slow, they're kind of like...
You can turn them to go slow. Intermittent windshield wipers.
But even then, they're not that slow. They're like, they have a constant motion.
Bring your feet wide on the mat, wider than your hips. Let your knees soften in towards each other. If this does not feel fabulous on your lower back, please experiment with moving your feet. You might have your feet too close to your glutes. This should be restorative. Should feel nice and soft on your lower back, like we just took all the pressure off our lower back. So just starting to feel our hips on the ground in this position. See if you can release a little more tension here. So we just worked the back line, worked the hamstrings. Can we soften this whole space? And then leaving the left foot on the ground, knee up. We're gonna take the right leg in a long, slow circle. So lift the right leg up. Take a long, slow circle, moving the hip. Finding range of motion in that hip. Nice and slow. And then find that position where the right leg is out to the right and you feel a little tension on the inner thigh. If this is intense, bend the knee. Hold that leg out. Find a little strength. Make sure the left hip is still grounded. Maybe a little attention on the left foot, just to give you a little extra grounding. Hold that leg, use the inner thigh. Fire up more muscles in that leg. Try not to lock into the knee. A little bend maybe to make sure you still have some energy moving around the knee. And then we're going to bring the leg up to center and slowly back. Inhale as you draw it up to center. Exhale as you open. Try not to let the hips move. So the hips are grounded. We're just using the inner thigh. I like to keep my left hand on my left hip. It helps me remember to keep it grounded, keep it steady, pressing down into the ground with my stomach in front of my hips, not my lower back. My lower back does not have to be doing any work right now. It's not invited to the party. Bring that right leg across the left knee, flop it down. So now right knee is over left knee. And you're gonna let the knees come all the way over to the left with the right shoulder planted on the ground and the right palm planted on the ground. All the way over to the left, you should hit the right foot before anything. So then let that right foot come to the ground. And then move the right arm. Maybe feel a little more opening in underneath the right rib cage. Mindful of any tweaks. So if you're feeling pinching or unusual sensations in the low back, back off, restart. So plant the hand and let the toes come to the left without, just keep trying to find that angle that works where there's no tweaks in the low back. And you can also press a little into the right foot to take all the pressure out of the back and just opening up that side body. Slowly bring the knees back to center. And we're going to bring the knees in towards the chest for Kaylee's favorite stretch. So you bring feet to opposite shoulders. You're looking for piriformis underneath the glutes on the right side. And it's a fight or flight muscle, so we breathe into it. We don't pull into it. We want to turn it off, not bring more tension here. So we find where it feels like it's has a little awareness, and then we just breathe into it. Imagine it's softening. We're not yanking it and trying to get it longer. Be kind to the body. Release the tension. And then slowly unravel. Take the right foot a little bit wider than the hip. Let it come to the ground. Plant the hips on the ground. Take all the tension out of the hips. And then that left leg is going to come along and make a giant slow circle. Slow. Oh, pop. Low as you can. Trying to keep the right hip grounded.
Keep trying to kick you when my leg's on that side.
At least it makes you do more leg work.
It was very annoying. I waited for you, and then you dodged my kick.
I know, I held it up.
It was mean.
You couldn't get me in. You had to stay there for longer. All right, hold it all the way over to the left. Find that point. You can hold it to the left with the leg muscles. Remember, we're using the legs, not the lower back. Push the hips into the ground. Use the leg. Inhale up. Exhale lower. Nice and slow with control. Looking for compensation patterns. Are you tightening your face?
I can't even.
Are you tightening your chest? Are you using your lower back? Try to use the inner thigh. Try to use the lower core.
Oh. This one hurts. I don't like it.
I don't like anything to do with him.
Exactly.
And then slowly
Stop
bring
doing
that
it.
left leg all the way over the right knee. Placing the left arm down, the left shoulder down. Let the knees and the feet, the left foot come all the way over to the right. Find the place where the left foot lands on the ground. And then maybe move the arm a little. Find where it feels great, where it feels open underneath the rib cage on the left side. Slowly bring the knees back to center, knees into chest, and then feet come towards opposite shoulders. If you're not feeling the piriformis in underneath the left side, play with the angle of the feet nice and slow until you feel it. You can also feel like you're pulling your toes backwards and pressing energy out through the balls of your feet. Activate the legs a little more. That can help feel the piriformis also.
So itchy from feeding my dog. That's why I don't slide on those sides.
Slowly unravel. Bring the feet down about hip width. Nice, comfortable distance from the hips. We're going to take a little hip reset. So letting the shoulders and the rib cage be down on the ground, you're going to lift your hips about a half an inch and let them drop. Nice and slow, nice and gentle, no muscle control. So we want to look for the little vibrations all the way from the hips down to the heels. Loosen more, soften more. Maybe take it a little faster. And then let it soften. Let your arms soften to the ground. Notice how you feel. Find your breath. And this is yoga for stress, so there are a lot of techniques of crossing left and right sides, crossing brain patterns. We're doing one of those exercises now, and you are supposed to feel silly when you do these exercises. The whole point is to write a new brain pattern, to let go, release some tension. So there are many descriptions for this exercise. It's kind of like a tantrum on the ground, really. You're going to really throw your arms and legs around, but you really want to connect with somehow tapping your right hand over to your left leg and your left hand over to your right leg. But you want to do it in a really loose and kind of wiggly, soft way. So let go. Let your face go. Tap left and right. Feel left and right sides tapping. Maybe even shake your legs a little more, maybe like you're a kid having a tantrum on the ground. Have you ever seen them and they throw them up? Take your arms up in the air, throw your feet up in the air, and really shake and wiggle and let go. Let everything go. Throw a real tantrum. And then back to left, right, left, right, left, right, left,
Tantrum
right,
maybe we can hip work.
right. And then more tantrum. Throw. Let everything go. Throw it away. Loosen. Soften. Get soft in the feet. Can you feel wiggles in the feet?
Tired.
Wiggles in the hands. Left, right. Left, right. Close your eyes so you can really let go. Left, right. Left,
A
right.
lot of
Left,
energy. This is
right.
tiring.
Left, right. One more time. Throw a tantrum. Throw everything up in the air. Let go. Kick it out. Loosen and soften. And then take everything and flop to the ground. Like an elephant.
A lot of work to throw a tantrum though.
So think about how that feels. Think about why children do what they do. Oftentimes in class I'll have people stomp their feet, imagining that they're stomping their feet, like a little 2-year-old having a tantrum. There's a reason why we do this. It gets the energy out and it regrounds us. Pushes that out through our feet, and then we can reset. So now, just notice how you feel. Notice how it feels to let all of that energy move out of the body. When was the last time you thought about something distracting? And it's okay if you were distracted the whole time. That's just an answer. It's just information. We're just asking questions to receive information. Yoga is an internal experience. We're just guiding you to have that internal experience. So trying to get comfortable on the ground, and if you are more comfortable with your feet on the ground, knees up, find that position for your body, for your low back. We're going to work a little on the face and neck and shoulders on releasing tension, not anything else. So make sure that your chin is up to the ceiling and your neck is not being pushed down into the ground. Oftentimes when we find the ground below us, we feel like we want to flatten everything down. So try to let your natural curve be in your lower back and your natural curve be in your neck. Now we're going to feel the back of our head on the ground. Bring the palm of any hand onto the forehead. And just feel a little bit of pressure of the palm of the hand right on the forehead, and then a little pressure in the back of the skull. Bring your awareness around your jaw and see if you can loosen the muscles around your jaw. Remember which hand is on your forehead. Let it go. We are going to work the muscles of the tongue and the jaw. So it's really hard for me to speak and show. You're going to take your tongue. You're going to roll your tongue around your teeth. So you're going to roll it around the top of your teeth on the front in a circle. All the way around 10 times and then all the way around in the other direction 10 times. So I can't believe I'm about to do this on video, but here we go. Like this. Around the front of your teeth. Yes. Go all the way 10 times in one direction and then 10 times in the other direction. Paying attention to how your jaw feels as you do this. And then let that go. Take the other hand, the palm of the other hand to your forehead. Notice how it feels. Notice how your jaw feels now. Laying on the ground, feeling the back of your head on the ground. Push your lower jaw all the way up to the ceiling as far as you can. Open your lower jaw down towards your knees as far as you can. So opening your mouth wide, wide, wide. Bring your lower jaw out and then over. So as if you're trying to bring it over your top teeth. Bring your lower jaw out, so up towards the ceiling and then over to the right. Over to the left. And then take a little side with your jaw, loosen it. Take 2 fingers on either hand, index and middle finger. Make little circles right where upper and lower jaw meet. And then take pinchy fingers, index finger and thumb. Grab the lower jaw and run your fingers along up towards your ears. So pinch the bone and run your fingers up to your ears. Take your thumbs. Place your thumbs right on the inside corners of the eyes. There's a little notch right there. And then pull your thumbs up towards your eyebrows. Little tiny pressure. Press and hold. You're going to take pinchy fingers again, only very, very gentle this time. See if you can pinch the ridge, the bone surrounding the eyes. So little pinches, follow the bone around the top of the eye. Pretty much pinching your eyebrow. Little soft pinches, just notice how it starts to feel on your eyes. Huh?
My eye socket is like bumpy. Like it's not like a smooth circle. It's like
Oh, you've never felt your eyes before?
it's bumpy. Like
Take your
bone. I
2 fingers on
typically
either
feel the
hand.
bone around my eye.
Place them in between the eyes. Run to the middle of the forehead and then pull over towards the temples. Don't go into the temples. Press up into the middle and over towards the temple. Like you're following your wrinkle lines. Squeeze away the tension in your face.
Yes, you've already given me stress wrinkles.
And then finally, little light fingers. So you're gonna make little light fingers and tap, tap, tap the face. Little tiny tappies all over the face, over the skull. And then down onto the chest. Take the hands out, stretch the fingers wide, wide, wide. Make fists. Stretch the fingers wide. Make fists. Feel the fists. Crunch the fists. Bring the arms down to the ground, feeling fists. Take a deep breath in and squeeze tighter. And then suddenly release all the tension in your arms and hands. Bring your awareness to the palms of your hands and notice how the palms of your hands feel. So now we're moving into a resting pose. Feel free to set up with a bolster pillow underneath your knees. Maybe you just bring your feet to the ground, knees up. You can put your legs on a chair. You're setting up in your resting pose, and your resting pose is not a stretch. No more tension. It's a rest. It's a break. So find that position that you can be in, that you're actually resting. Let go. Soften into this present moment in time. Returning to the palms of the hands, one of the places where we often hold gripping and we are completely unaware of it is in our hands. Oftentimes I see people in class, they have their hands clasped in their resting pose and they have it rested on their stomach, very protective position, but their hands holding tension still, even in their resting pose, and they're completely oblivious. You can ask someone to relax and loosen tension and they have no idea that they're holding it there, because this is their protective, this is homeostasis, this is normal for their body. They have no idea that this tension is still in their body. So really bringing attention to your hands. Can you soften your hands a little more? What are you gripping? What are you holding on to? Soften and let go. You don't have to soften and let go and fix everything right in this moment, but just for a moment, take a break. Feel that softness. Allow the muscles in the hands to ungrip. Allow the muscles in the wrist and the arms to ungrip. And notice how everything is connected, and maybe as you allow your hands to ungrip, your shoulders ungrip. Maybe even your shoulder blades land a little more in the ground. The muscles begin to release and allow the ground to support you. And as your shoulders release, maybe your neck can release a little more and your skull can land a little more heavily on the ground, knowing it's supported. Soften the tension in the face, around the jaw. Maybe notice some sensation in the jaw. We work the jaw a lot. Maybe you can feel some sensation in around the muscles of the jaw. Maybe even the muscles of the tongue. Can you allow some of the gripping along the spine to soften? Around the hips. And even the soles of the feet. my Affirminator card that I pulled today was no judgment. I release myself from any and all judgments. I find my inner critic, call it into my office, and tell it to take a vacation. As it leaves the room, I let out a sigh and begin to enjoy the joy of simply being. Who hired that guy anyway? So sometimes I think that the person who wrote these cards is like long lost soulmate. These cards are very funny and very us. So find that inner critic. And maybe not even send him on vacation. Maybe fire him. Who needs that person anyway? Can you find that center point of your mind as if you're landing right on the top of the tailbone? Looking at the natural mechanical firing of the brain, translated into thought patterns, and noticing that they are just thought patterns. That the combination of these thought patterns are not the whole picture. These are not who we are. We are more than just these firings in our brain. Notice that you can notice the thoughts. And then perhaps notice a little space in between the thoughts. If you need a little more time in your resting pose, please feel free to turn off the video or just ignore the rest of the talking. Take as much time as you need in your resting pose. The more time, the better. Listen to your body and take the time to take a break, to turn off, to switch off. If you have somewhere you need to be in 60 minutes is all that you have. We're coming up on that 60-minute mark. So begin to bring a knee in at a time. Make yourself into a little tiny ball and curl up onto a side, whichever side is calling to you. Take the moment to ground down in the fetal position, this curled up, supported fetal position, reminding us of a time in the womb when all of our needs were met and we had not judged ourselves as negative or positive. We're just a little spark of life, and we come to this pose to remind ourselves that that spark of life exists within, unchanged by our experiences. Taking your time, come on up to a seated position and finish your practice with your hands of prayer at heart space. This gesture of bringing our left and right sides to meet in front of our heart, as if accepting ourselves as whole and complete, precisely as we are. May we all know love, light, and connection. May we all send that inner critic on vacation and learn to live in a little more peace and harmony with ourselves so that we may share that with our community. When we judge ourselves less, we're able to judge others even less. thank you for joining us.